And I want to rewatch it because I want to show you guys something really important.
2020 lol.
Okay. Oh, here
in
it
this
is.
bucket about fitness to be president, there's been a lot of developments over the last 10 days since the last debate. I'd like to ask you about them. These are questions.
By the way, look who's moderating the debate.
That the American people have. Secretary Clinton, during your 2009 Senate confirmation hearing, you promised to avoid even the appearance of a conflict of interest with your dealing with the Clinton Foundation while you were Secretary of State. But emails show that donors got special access to you. Those seeking grants for Haiti relief were...
Okay, I don't care about this part.
America deserved on 11.
Okay, let's hear what Donald Trump had to say.
Just sub yesterday.
Surprise. And so many.
Do you want to talk about that?
But there is no evidence. But
there is
a lot of evidence about the very good work
and it's a criminal enterprise.
And so many people know it. It's a criminal enterprise. Saudi Arabia giving $25 million, Qatar, all of these countries. You talk about women and women's rights. So these are people that
His name is Hasan.
Isn't it funny that he's like talking about Saudi Arabia here? And he literally was like, they gave me $10 billion so they can kill people. Who gives a shit?
Oh,
I don't care. Are you going to give me $10 billion for weapons to do genocide in Yemen? I think not. They're going to go buy it somewhere else.
Push gays.
It's so funny that, like, literally everything he talked about, he did the exact opposite of.
Off business, off buildings. These are people that kill women and treat women horribly, and yet you take their money. So I'd like to ask you right now, why don't you give back the money that you've taken from certain countries that treat certain groups of people so horribly? Why don't you give back the money? I think it would be a great...
So remember, Donald Trump said this. The debate clip is from a different debate.
Leasing it.
Oh, it is from a different debate. Hold on. Wait, why is this? Trump's tax returns, though. It's going to come up in this one, too. Hold on.
Rating from our
boats.
Done things to help small businesses, agriculture, and so much else. And we're going to keep working to help Haiti because it's an important part of the...
Okay.
We fought for the right and disabled.
Prove it go, Chris. You know, half of all...
Hundreds of millions of dollars.
Documented immigrants in America who are paying more federal income tax than a billionaire. I find that
so let me just tell you very
astonishing.
Simply, we're entitled, because of the laws that people like her pass, to take mass.
This is what I wanted to show you. So she is right. She's calling him out correctly and saying you pay no federal income taxes. It's disgusting. You shit on undocumented immigrants who pay more into these very same systems than you do as a billionaire. Okay, she was completely right. Look at what Donald Trump says here. And Donald Trump is completely right with his answer. Watch.
Because of the laws that...
Undocumented, find
so
that
let me just tell you very simply, we're entitled, because of the laws that people like her pass, to take massive amounts of depreciation and other charges, and we do it. And all...
So this was something that Obama did. Like, something that Obama did in the recovery efforts in 2008, where the rollover tax credits that you could get on your reported losses to stimulate the economy, Obama changed that from 2 years to 5, I believe, which helped Trump tremendously. Okay, part of the reason why Donald Trump was able to report all these losses and then not pay taxes at all is because of Obama, and is because of Hillary Clinton as a senator, is what he's pointing out, right? He's saying, you guys built this broken system. So he's right. So when Donald Trump was running for president and he said this, he was right.
All of her donors, just about all of them. I know Buffett took hundreds of millions of dollars. George Soros, took hundreds of millions of dollars. Let me just explain. All of her donors, most of her donors have done the same.
But here's the thing. What did you do when you became president? Now, this is something that we need to be talking about. Because he is on the money here when he says, you and people like you give people like me and other wealthy benefactors everything. You give us the world, okay? And of course I'm going to take advantage of it. I'm not an idiot. I'm smart. That's why. And he was right when he said that. But what the fuck did he do as president? This is what you need to hammer in, because Donald Trump is an outsider, and he ran as an outsider, even though he was an insider, technically as a billionaire. And he's still trying to run that same 2016 era outsider narrative right now. But he's not an outsider. He's been the president for the past 4 years. And guess what? He made that unequal system much worse. So Joe Biden or anyone,
Has BB
please,
so
for the
close to a
love of
year?
fucking
You're part of
Allah,
the reason I
Hazrat
decided to
Muhammad,
go to
Jesus
school for
Christ,
journalism, so
the
thank
fucking
you.
Buddhist gods, whatever. Please, someone point out the fact that you were right in 2016 when you said this is a broken system that helps people like you, but you took control of that system and you made things worse. You gave gigantic fucking tax cuts to other homies and people just like yourself at a time when corporations were showing record high profits. You made this system much worse for everyone, for everyday Americans. So you are not only a hypocrite, but you're a fucking liar. You are not on the side of the American people. You can talk about it all you want, but you openly stated that this is a broken and fundamentally flawed system, a system that you took control over with a promise that you were going to fix it, and you made it fucking worse. Someone has to point this out, because that is at the heart of this controversy. Not the fact that he paid $750, not the fact that he's a shit business dealer or whatever, or he's a fake billionaire. Because in the eyes of an American person, like in the eyes of a regular average Joe, what, you think a guy who has made a career off of LARPing as a billionaire and has literally made billions, nearly $1 billion just by LARPing as a billionaire on television? Do you think Americans are going to believe you? Do you think Americans are going to turn around and be like, yeah, Donald Trump is not rich? Like, get the fuck out of here. He has private jets. He has so many businesses. For average Americans, like, he is a fucking billionaire. And he is. It doesn't matter. Being a billionaire is not a good thing anyway. Unless you are a fucking freak neoliberal wonk who actually thinks there are good billionaires and bad billionaires, and like what we need is a real billionaire like Michael Bloomberg or some shit. Okay? Someone needs to point this out. Joe Biden's campaign needs to point this out. And then they have to do something about it too. Hopefully fix the broken system, which they're not going to. But the point I'm trying to make here is that Donald Trump has lied to the American people over and over again. And this is one of the worst lies. It's one of the worst lies that he told Americans, that he was going to fix this broken system. And he didn't. He made it much, much, much worse. Okay? So in 2016, when he mentioned this as an outsider with an outsider status, he looked good. And if no one brings this up in 2020, then that's fucking pathetic. And that's insane. And you're just really throwing it out. You have really weird takes. Swat away real issues to address other equally real issues. I don't know what issue I'm swatting away. Donald Trump being a fake billionaire is not a real issue. In the eyes of the American electorate, Donald Trump is a fucking billionaire, okay? He is in a private jet. He owns multiple fucking apartment complexes and shit. It doesn't matter. He's a billionaire. Like, that doesn't change anything. Don't be a moron. And being a billionaire is not even a good thing. They're never going to be like, oh, he was a fake billionaire. He was a bad businessman. Like, no, that shit doesn't matter. You're not going to convince someone that he's a bad business person if they already love him.
Same thing as I do.
Okay.
And you know what you should have done?
Folks, we heard
and
this.
you know, Hillary, what you should have done? You should have changed the law when you were a United States Senator. If you
Folks,
don't
we
like
heard
it,
this.
Yeah.
because
This is an ad. This is a ad. You should have changed the law when you were a United States senator. Wow. Should she have? Well, Donald Trump did change the law, and he made things much worse. He gave trillions of dollars of fucking tax cuts to corporations of the wealthy, okay? That's what he did.
We're going to follow you right back.
He did change the law. He changed it
I
for
officially today give
Goldman
my
and
endorsement
Sachs.
to the Rock
He
and Hassan
changed it
ticket for president
for
and vice president of
big
these
banks
United States.
and big businesses.
Also click link. Plus.
Because your donors and your special interests are doing the same thing as I do, except even more so.
Well,
you
you know-
should have changed the law, but you won't change the law because you take in so much money. I mean, I sat in my apartment today on a very beautiful hotel down the street known as Trump.
Made with Chinese steel.
But I will tell you, I sat there watching ad after ad after ad, false ad, all paid for by your friends on Wall Street that gave so much money because
He's so fucking good. He's so brilliant at using the frustration that Americans have to get himself elected. You guys think this guy's a fucking idiot. You are the idiot. I was an idiot too for not recognizing. I mean, I did recognize that he had a lot of good populist rhetoric, but like, you're the fucking real idiot if you don't recognize what he's doing here, man. He's giving American people a truth that most people in the elite class, in the politician class, don't ever mention. He's talking about a no-no thing that everyone kind of knows, but will never express on mainstream media. And he did that to win. He channeled all of the frustrations that the American working class has felt for a very long time and fucking unloaded it onto the pre-existing red herrings that the Republican media infrastructure has created. Immigrants, black people, gay people, women in the workplace, and most importantly, the group that represents all of their interests and puts them over the interests of the white working class, liberals, bi-coastal elite liberals. This motherfucker, born with a goddamn silver spoon in his mouth, to a family of multimillionaires whose father helped him, who went to fucking Wharton, okay? Who dodged the draft and like literally is everything that he criticizes. He was able to resonate with the American working class in the South and in the Rust Belt in a better way than Democrats ever could. And because Hillary Clinton fucking sucks at that, obviously, and everyone hates her. But god damn, dude, use all of this against them. You are leaving a gigantic opening here. Donald Trump is the president. He's been the president for 4 fucking years. Make people remember that. Did your lives get better? Or are you suffering worse after 4 fucking years?
they know you're going to protect them. And frankly, you should have changed the
Mr.
laws.
Trump,
If you don't like what I did, you should have changed.
Everyone hates her. Hillary wins the popular vote. Heh, nothing personal, kid. I mean, I voted for her, dipshit, and I fucking despise her. And a lot of people who voted for her out of necessity also despised her. But turns out it wasn't enough because enough people hated her that they didn't go out and fucking vote in areas where it mattered. Areas that she didn't visit, like Michigan or Wisconsin. So, you know, you can fucking cry about how popular Hillary is in your stupid fucking bubble with your mommy and your other like weirdo wine moms who fucking sit and get brain disease from MSNBC all night. But like, no, she is despised. Okay? Partially because she is a woman, but mostly because there is an entire cottage industry of people who fucking created conspiracy theories about the Clinton family for fucking 30 years. Horrible candidate. Just absolute fucking horrible candidate who could not hide the elitism. Who could not even be a politician that's with the people. Your argument is bleeding lines. You should take a moment to reset it before everyone starts to blur. What? Politico Trump, not Biden, being underestimated tonight. I rewatched all of Trump's 2015-2016 debates. My takeaway is a much better debater than you may remember, and it is Trump, not Biden, who's being underestimated. Well, I mean, I'm not underestimating him. I think Trump is a brilliant debater. I've said over and over again. And he's been running his tight five on every fucking campaign rally. He's been running his line of defense every single day that he does press briefings against the contentious media. He is ready. Brilliant? Yes. Trump is fucking brilliant at entertaining. I'm sorry. Just like he was very good as a Republican leader, where he dismantled federal institutions and gave one of the largest fucking tax cuts in the history of the United States to the wealthy and the corporations, okay? Sorry, I've been saying this for fucking years, but you liberals never pay attention to this shit because you only care about politics as team sports every fucking 4 years. In his most recent interviews, he sounds insane. Do you think that he'll still be a good debater? Yes.
Obviously, the war in Iraq was a big, fat mistake, all right? Now, you can take it any way you want, and it took Jeb Bush, if you remember at the beginning of his announcement, when he announced for president, took him 5 days. He went back. It was a mistake. It wasn't a mistake. Took him 5 days before his people told him what to say, and he ultimately said it was a mistake. The war in Iraq, we spent $2 trillion, thousands of lives. We don't even have it. Iran is taking over Iraq with the second largest oil reserves in the world. Obviously, it was a mistake. So George Bush.
Like, he does this all the time. The other day, he literally said, like, people who forget, I agree 110%. He's actually very good at staying on message, but he just isn't always on a good message. But people know where he stands and what he means and is incredibly important in politics. He's a better debater than people give him credit because he treats it as a sales guy till the end. Yeah. Trump sounds dead compared to this. If you think Trump sounds dead compared to this, you haven't seen him at a campaign rally. Trump, in front of an audience, in front of his people, livens up. He does his fucking best tight five. We watch him every day. He's ready to fucking push back. He's ready to fucking roll over someone like Joe Biden. We're going to see that tonight. We are going to see 2016 era Trump tonight. That is my speculation. I think he's going to come balls to the fucking wall. And not only that, but he's going to prod at Joe Biden. Just like Joe Biden has a few weapons in his arsenal. He can bring up coronavirus deaths, which is going to be a fucking main point in the debate anyway. He can bring up that, Trump is a bad business person, which, by the way, isn't even all that great of a line of attack, but it's great because it will actually frazzle Donald Trump because he cares. He's like really narcissistic and he cares about being a good businessman and presenting himself as such. So that will hurt him a little bit for sure. And what Donald Trump has is Hunter Biden. What Donald Trump has is 47 years in Congress and you didn't do shit. Like, you're still the elitist. I'm still the person fighting against the elites, even though I've been an elite my entire life and I've been fucking president for the past 4 years and things haven't gotten better. As a matter of fact, they've gotten worse. So, he has... What? The Honorable Lindsey Graham. Oh my God, just declassified the Russia hoax was Hillary's plan and the Obama-Biden White House was briefed on it? What? Okay, we'll look at that in a second. Anyway, as I was trying to say, Donald Trump is probably going to say stuff to Joe Biden tonight that will be horrible. That will hurt your virgin ears, okay? Do you hear me? Do you understand? He's going to say some shit that is going to be very entertaining, that's going to get a lot of play in the media. He's going to say stuff about Hunter Biden. I would, 100%. He might even go so far as to say stuff about Beau Biden. We'll see what happens. We'll see how Joe Biden retaliates to that sort of stuff. We'll see if he's able to stay on message or if he'll get so frustrated that he'll lose control. And if he does that, that's not a really good place for him to be, especially because he's not with it like he used to be. Okay? He's not with it like he used to be. He's not going to be able to dish it back. Hopefully he will be able to. Donald Trump is a very good bully. And he's done this. He rolled over every fucking Republican candidate and he rolled over Hillary Clinton. And Hillary Clinton is a much better debater than Joe Biden. Hillary Clinton was cognitively all there and more. And he still was able to defeat her in certain points. on the debate stage. He did a lot better than we remember. Anyway, who do you think is a good candidate? Who deserves my vote? No one's a good candidate, but the better candidate is 100% Joe Biden. Let's say Trump pushes Biden so hard he mentions Bo, and then Biden just loses his temper and punches him in the face. Do you think that would help or hurt Biden electorally? Oh, it would help.
Pervert.
If Joe Biden lost control to the degree that he punched Donald Trump, he would win. He would win the election. Without a doubt. Like, I'm not even kidding. Because that is an expression of the anger and the disgust that the American people feel towards Donald Trump. Just like Donald Trump was a good fucking vehicle for all the anger and frustration that conservatives all around the country felt against the libtards that have destroyed their livelihood and destroyed their way of life, you know, by promoting homosexuality and promiscuity and making abortions legal and also promoted, or whatever the fuck psychopathic conservatives believe in middle America.
This is a deranged pervert.
Joe Biden attacking Trump directly is exactly that expression, is the similar kind of expression that Americans feel towards Donald Trump as well. So, if you were to do some shit like that, he would 100%. He would fucking wipe, dude.
Dementia. May the best stimulant cocktail win Hespog.
I wish. Joe Biden doesn't have to do much to win the presidency other than not fucking suck ass. That's true. That's not actually... Nope, that's not true. Claim of personhood in abortion. I wonder how many times will we hear defunding the police, Democrat run cities, Second Amendment rights, closing off China for COVID mentioned tonight. Take a shot each time, you would die. I'm not doing any like bingo shit because these guys are talking point machines, okay?
WTF.
How do you think he would behave against Andrew Yang? Because Yang is so nice. What? Dude, Yang gangers are so fucking weird, dude. Dude, no. No, I'm not even going to answer a fucking silly question like that. Anyway, will you be covering the debate live? Of course. It feels so weird for you to compliment Trump. I mean, dude, look, I'm honest. I'm honest. I'm an honest guy. If Donald Trump is doing something well, I'm going to fucking openly admit it because it's idiotic. It's absolutely pathetic and totally idiotic to underestimate your opponent. Anyway, here's half a century of presidential debate history.
Big government, but I believe in effective governmental action. And I think that's the only way that the United States is going to maintain its freedom. It's the only way that we're going to move ahead. I think we can do a better job. I think we're going to have to do a better job if we are going to meet the responsibilities which time and events have placed upon us. We cannot turn the job over to anyone else. If the United States fails, then the whole cause of freedom fails. And I think it depends in great measure on what we do here in this country.
Next Tuesday, all of you will go to the polls. You'll stand there in the polling place and make a decision.
This is a deranged pervert.
Hey,
I
man,
think when you
thanks for
make that
what you do.
decision, it might be well if you would ask yourself, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Is it easier for you to go and buy things in the stores than it was 4 years ago? Is there more or less unemployment in the country than there was 4 years ago? Is America as respected throughout the world as it was? Do you feel that our security...
Joe Biden should literally just say that. He should just line for line, verbatim, say exactly what Ronald Reagan is saying here. Like literally line for fucking line. And when you make that choice, remember whose name, remember who was the president that led you down this community. That led you, not community, sorry, led you down this. I mean, he is a plagiarizing Andy anyway. He should just fucking plagiarize again.
This is a deranged...
Line for line, just be like, that led you down this fucking path, okay? Line for line. Remember, Donald Trump wants you to forget that he's been president for the past 4 years. That's why I keep saying this is Joe Biden's America under Donald Trump, because he can never take responsibility, and that's not what good leaders do.
is as safe, that we're as strong as we were 4 years ago. I have as much experience in the Congress as Jack Kennedy did when he sought the presidency.
Senator,
This is a deranged. Perfect.
I served with Jack Kennedy. I knew Jack Kennedy. Jack Kennedy was a friend of mine. Senator, you're no Jack Kennedy.
September the 11th changed how America must look at the world. And since that day, our nation has been on a multi-pronged strategy to keep our country safer. We pursued al-Qaeda wherever al-Qaeda tries to hide. 75% of known al-Qaeda leaders have been brought to justice. The rest of them know we're after them. We've upheld the doctrine that said if you harbor a terrorist, you're equally as guilty as a terrorist, and the Taliban no longer in power. 10 million people have registered to vote in Afghanistan in the upcoming presidential election. In Iraq, we saw a threat, and we realized that after September the 11th, we must take threats seriously before they fully materialize. Saddam Hussein now sits in a prison cell. America and the world are safer for it. We continue to pursue our policy of disrupting those who proliferate weapons of mass destruction.
Perfect.
Libya has disarmed. The
So
AQ
safe.
Khan network has been brought to justice. And as well, we're pursuing a strategy of
I feel so safe,
freedom
dude.
around the world, because I understand free nations.
Don't you
will
feel
reject
safe?
terror. Free nations will answer the hopes and aspirations of their people. Free nations will help us achieve the peace we all want.
The place these debates have in the election process is a critical, final place. Everything in the campaign, the conventions, everything has come before.
These will be the three biggest audiences at these debates that these two men will have between now and the time people go to the polls.
The importance of the debates grows with every election. These are the last vehicles that actually have the ability to change people's minds.
The debates bring everybody together, everybody who's already decided, the few folks who have not decided, to see the candidates in the same place at the same time in a comparative environment.
We have two parties. There's a reason we have two parties. They really disagree about what the size and shape and role of the government ought to be. And I think the debates are going to be very useful to bring that out. And I think they will eliminate any sense that we don't understand what the choice is here.
I think that they look at it as a place not to make major errors. I think that's number one on their list. Do not mess this up. But if you are behind going into it, you want to shine. So you have in your head perhaps something that will make you stand out. Now maybe it's a zinger you're going to throw at your opponent that you think might make a difference. Or maybe it might be, this is not what I'm for. Here are three things, and then there would be information within it that would be new.
People generally base their vote for president, when it comes right down to it, on the person that they feel most comfortable with in times of a crisis. And that's why I think the way the candidates come off, even more than sometimes what they say, is the most important thing.
Between the candidates will answer.
This is 100% true. It's also 100% true for Mitt Romney even. Like, this is before 2012, I assume, right? Oh, this is before. Yeah, exactly. Like, Mitt Romney lost when he came across as an out of touch elitist with a car elevator in his house that worked for Bain Capital and was responsible for so many jobs that he personally fucking fired when he worked for one of these consulting firms. So that destroyed him. Like, that destroyed him. Absolutely destroyed him. Donald Trump, for all of his fucking glaring flaws and failures, is very good at marketing himself to the Republican base. He's very good at also offering to the rest of the Republicans, the fiscal conservatives, exactly the kinds of policies that they want. He's very good at laser focusing on the evangelical base and giving them exactly what they want, or at least dangling that carrot in front of them. But He's also very good at appealing to the grievance politics, white working class people. He's very good at doing the culture war for them. He's very good at sticking it to the liberals and that's why he has such appeal, such passionate appeal as well. Such enthusiasm for himself, despite the fact that he is a fucking demonstrable failure.
Answer or comment upon answers to questions put by a panel of correspondents.
The Kennedy-Nixon debate, the first debate of 1960, is the first real time in the history of television in which you have a massed audience simultaneously sitting largely in living rooms, watching two candidates exchange answers on a focused topic with journalists acting as the intermediary.
What I think Kennedy and Nixon discovered, to their amazement to some extent, was that it didn't matter just what you said, it mattered how you said it and how you looked saying it.
And Richard Nixon had a 5 o'clock shadow, a very heavy one. And Jack Kennedy looked handsome and was really good in front of the camera.
People who heard it on the radio, many of them thought that Nixon won.
But people who watched on television thought that Kennedy won the debate, and that's because of the appearance of Richard Nixon. He was sweating across his lip, and he looked nervous and unsure of himself on television.
It goes back to seeing a complete picture of the person and your sense of that person, his composure.
So it wasn't just the debate in 1960, it was the introduction of television as a force unto itself.
What group do you think is most likely to have their minds changed by the debate? So there's two factors to have. There's two factors to consider here, okay? One is level of enthusiasm for Joe Biden versus the enthusiasm to vote for Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump locks it down. 65+% of voters for Donald Trump are voting for Donald Trump, whereas the majority of people, the overwhelming majority of people that are voting for Joe Biden are voting against Donald Trump and not necessarily for Joe Biden. I'm one of those people, right? So that creates a unique circumstance where Joe Biden is more volatile, okay? If he fucks up like big time on this debate stage, that could actually reduce the likelihood that a lot of people will go out and fucking vote for him, because voting is very difficult in this country no matter what people try to tell you, especially for working class people. Especially for a lot of people who don't feel like their voice matters anyway because of the Electoral College. So the issue here is that the debates might hurt Joe Biden in a way that they would have never hurted Hillary Clinton, because Hillary Clinton, people knew about her. She was a good debater. She was cognitively all there. Joe Biden needs to demonstrate that he also is cognitively all there tonight. If he fails to do that in a way that is like impossible to even cover up by the media, that's going to be very difficult for him. Will most likely drive down voter turnout. That is something that I fear. Now, having said that, however, the other thing is, like, the other positive here is that Joe Biden is doing really well in the polls in comparison to Hillary Clinton at this stage. Pollers swear that they changed their methodology from 2016 in an effort to make sure that they reduce the margin of error that they had in 2016 for numerous states where Donald Trump won, even though it didn't look like he was going to win at all, in like a 5-point differential, for example, like a 5-point swing that favored Donald Trump over Hillary Clinton. So the advantage here that Joe Biden has is that there are way less undecided people, because Joe Biden is the fucking vice president. Like, everybody knows who the fuck Joe Biden is. Everybody knows what he represents. And Donald Trump has been the president for the past 4 years, and everybody knows who the fuck Donald Trump is, and everybody knows what he represents. So the battle lines are drawn. There are more clear-cut battle lines that are drawn. So there's less undecideds to go between either party at this stage than you would normally have, which is why I think that plays to Joe Biden's advantage, because he's winning currently.
Just put out his hottest take ever thoughts, Hasan.
Okay. So we shall see what happens in the, T-minus 4 hours, exactly. 4 hours until the debate. Is it okay that I am not gay but fangirling to you and Voss so much that I want to have sex with you both? Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
In presidential politics. And it became a fact that you were selling a product on TV. The product happened to be a candidate.
The Ford-Carter debates are among the more interesting in the history of the presidency. Ford's behind in the polls. He challenges Carter to debates.
Generally, whoever is behind wants debates, and who's ever ahead doesn't want them, because everybody sees that there's an opportunity to shine or an opportunity to really mess it up.
There is no Soviet domination of Eastern Europe, and there never will be under a Ford administration.
Gerald Ford said the Soviet Union does not dominate Eastern Europe. Some people would argue that that cost Gerald Ford the election.
I don't think that was a gaffe. What Ford said is actually what the policy of the United States was. He didn't say it well. The administration, as well as those past, asserted that those were free peoples. They had the rights to independence.
I'm not sure to the average viewer who doesn't think a lot about foreign policy, that was a big deal. I think when the attention that was lavished on it became obvious to all, then it became seen as a blunder that probably most people didn't think of it as.
4 hours till the debate, and we already have 23,000 viewers in here. Oh my Lord! This is going to be a big one, boys. It's going to be one for the books.
Typically,
Thanks
is
for
against
all you do at Hasanabi.
Governor?
5 hours, but 4 hours for the debate, like pre-debate part of the
There
debate.
is some evidence that some people who came in thinking, well, I'll vote for Jimmy Carter, even though I don't like him very much, saw Ronald Reagan and said, I could live with that guy. And they turned around and changed their vote.
I think when you make that decision, it might be well if you would ask yourself, are you better off than you were 4 years ago?
And it's all in the eyes of the beholders, the voters. And whether they, I don't like him. Oh, he's terrific. Hey. And if you're kind of undecided, that's helpful.
Maybe that Carter-Reagan debate changed the course of the campaign and helped determine the outcome. It was partly because there was only one debate, and it was very late, and it was one moment, a fleeting moment, really.
Oh, you're such a big
I remember
man,
Michael
Hasan.
Dukakis, and I don't think this was a genuine moment. I think this was a debate moment.
Governor, if Kitty Dukakis were raped and murdered, would you favor an irrevocable death penalty for the killer?
No, I don't, Bernard, and I think you know that I've opposed the death penalty during...
This is like part of the reason why Democrats went full tilt, like reactionary as fuck with their insane criminal justice policies proposals. Like, this is why they try to outflank the Republicans, which led to Joe Biden's signature legislative accomplishment, the crime bill of 1994. So, you know, this was it. It was racism, racial agitation. And by the way, the media plays a fundamental role in this, in upholding white supremacist values and white supremacist ideals by asking idiotic, loaded questions like that, just like they did to Bernie Sanders, where fucking CNN was like, what, you mean the Boston bomber should vote? Oh, you want prisoners to vote? Well, what about the Boston bomber? Should he vote too? Yeah, it's so fucked. If your job is to be honest, and if your job is to talk about these matters in an honest capacity, when using vitriolic language like that is doing a disservice to the main cause that you claim that you care about, which is giving Americans the truth. Since when does your stream run ads? This is annoying as hell. Dude, I can't do anything, okay? Twitch is running the fucking ads automatically. Shut the fuck up and get off the platform.
As long as Biden says how herring his
All of
legs
my
are,
life.
he's got
And
my
that's
vote.
all anybody could talk about the next day. Would he be...
I haven't even started fucking running my ads so that, like, you don't get ad blists when you join the fucking stream. I should be running a minute of ads at the top of every hour, and I'm not even doing that. And if I did that, Twitch wouldn't fucking blitz ads every time you log on.
for the death penalty for the person who may have raped his wife?
Stop fucking crying about seeing 30 seconds of ads
kill the guy
for 10 hours of content, okay?
And Michael
Jesus
Dukakis
Christ, you're being
delivered
annoying.
a kind of bloodless answer. People came away, perhaps, with what was a pre-existing condition for Dukakis, which was that he was kind of this cold, technocrat.
But appearance is so important. People look at you and they make decisions about whether they like you or not. We have a question right here.
Yes, how has the national debt personally affected...
After the debate, I did not know that George Bush had, during the debate, looked at his watch.
Or sorry, just subscribe, forehead. What am I doing? Yeah, what's wrong with you? Just subscribe. There you go. Fucking $5. Or use your Twitch Prime. Subscribe. You get less ads or no ads. There you go.
Watch 3 or 4 times, looking at the time. And I started hearing from the public, what was he looking at his watch for? Where did he have to go? He's at a presidential debate. They didn't like that at all.
George H.W. Bush looks at his watch because like he has no patience for this, and it's like the guy isn't really into this. He's kind of just, you know, he's kind of just punching the clock here.
Clinton made the point, an interview with me, I said, look, if Clinton, had looked at his watch, or if Perot had looked at his watch, wouldn't have mattered at all. The only reason it mattered because it fulfilled something that was already in the wind.
The other thing that the public noticed that they relayed to me is that he stayed close to his stool.
It's still September? Oh, it's only $3 to subscribe. It's
Bill
September?
Clinton was wading into the audience. He was going right up to people and looking them right in the eye. President Bush remained back near his stool and very close to it in a little circle around it.
Bill Clinton is the master politician, maybe the best politician of our time, and he has the ability to explain things in a way that people understand.
His name is Hasan.
And George Bush didn't have that.
Well, here's what happened in Gore versus George W. Bush in 2000, first debate, Boston.
Thank you, Newman, for the 20 tier 1 gift subs.
You could see Gore listening.
And the vice president doesn't believe in exploration, for example, in Alaska. There's a lot of shut-in gas that we need to be well. This is a major problem.
This is a
There's differences.
Pervert.
I was the closest person to those two people, to George W. Bush and Al Gore. And when the debate was over, I was watching.
Imagine getting fucking owned by literally a donkey. Like a dude who almost died to a fucking pretzel. A dude who literally fell off a Segway. Like you're actually a smart guy. Well, also conceding to that fucking donkey who stole the election from you by cheating. That was also another great situation too.
Walking out of the hall with one of my daughters, and she said, hey, Dad, that was really something that Gore did. And I stopped. I said, what did Gore do?
I love this 8-minute Wall Street Journal video. Is basically just telling us that these debates don't fucking matter. No one gives a shit about the fucking policies, which we already knew. And everyone only cares about the aesthetics and whether or not they can have a drink or a beer or a fucking alcoholic beverage with either candidate. And Hillary Clinton lost on that across the board. One, because she's a fucking woman and everybody is misogynistic as shit in this country. So that's the first and foremost most significant reason. And two, because she was elitist as fuck. And nobody, and I mean nobody, would want to have a drink with fucking Hillary Clinton. Unless you're, you know, drinking like spinal fluid from the skull of babies or something when you're doing weird ritual occult shit. Anyway, so...
Whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this
You know, Jeffrey Epstein style, QAnon style conspiracies. I'm joking. Whatever. So, nobody would do that with Hillary Clinton. Everyone would fucking love to like hang out with Donald Trump because he's a celebrity and people liked him and he's entertaining. So there it is. That's all this video is teaching us.
And she said, well, all that sign and grimacing. Of course, I hadn't seen any of it. My daughter
tall,
said,
gay
fact,
at the gym.
Yeah, that's going to be the story of the debate. And I said, oh, give me a break.
Sometime as the moderator, you're seeing them in person, and you're not seeing what's going over television.
Happy debate night.
When Al Gore did all that sighing, I was watching on television. I saw it, and I thought, what is this all about?
What are you doing?
Wet ass P-word.
Al Gore,
Make
what
that pull
are
out
you
game
doing?
My first media job, Al Gore was literally my boss. Al Gore was my boss's boss. Fun fact, at Current TV. The first job I ever had at TYT when TYT was under Current TV. This motherfucker was my boss. And then he sold Current TV to Al Jazeera.
My brain
made a
has gotten
dime.
so big since I started watching your streams, and you have helped me become a lot more progressive over the last 7 months.
And
Hoping the
it,
debate
again,
coverage goes well and many oak
it's
buddy owns make you
magnified
only all this
by
evening.
the
Hassel, bless
television
heart, Hassel.
microphones that are right near his lips.
Man,
It picked it up so clearly, and it was like, oh dear. As I see, those little things can make you forget what he's saying at all. You're like wondering, why is he
His
doing
name
that?
is Hasan.
Al Gore's side.
Thank you, Score MF, for the
Why
5 tier 1
does
gift.
it matter? It doesn't matter to me.
And
How does
Newman
that
for the 20
predict
gifted.
The presidency. How did the president? I don't care if the president sighs a lot, or sighs a little, or doesn't sigh at all. I care about whether he commands the issues. I want to know about his temperament. I want to know whether or not he seeks out information systematically and how he processes it.
Is it fair that people base their opinions on a candidate on some little...
Dude, I hate the does my vote matter electoral college question, because I have no good answer to it, okay? I have no good answer on the area. If you were to be like, well, what the fuck difference does it make for voting for Joe Biden? The only answer I have for you, I have no answer. Like, the only answer I have is like, it'll make you feel better about yourself knowing that you did something that gets Donald Trump out of office. But most importantly, if you're asking from the presidential election, it doesn't really, from the electoral college point of view, it's just whatever. But down ballot votes matter a lot. Ballot measures matter a lot. This is something that I always fucking talk about. You absolutely have to go out and vote just for those reasons, even if you're not going to fucking vote for the president, okay? And sometimes if you leave the president vote blank, they will yeet your vote. So you should, at the very least, still vote for the president. So, if your vote didn't matter, so many people wouldn't be spending millions of trying to suppress it. Yeah, but your vote matters, but your vote still matters in electing fucking Joe Biden. So, and also on top of that, in the electoral college, if someone's like, why does my vote matter? Okay. Like, if you're in California, you're going to vote blue. Why does my vote matter? It's going to go blue anyway. When someone asks me that question, I don't have a fucking good answer for them, with the exception of down ballot voting, which is very significant and actually will impact your life in a very meaningful capacity. Voting for your local elected representatives is a huge deal. Voting for ballot measures is a huge deal, no matter where you are in the country. So you should definitely, without a doubt, 1,000% vote, and vote super fucking hard, even if you don't give a shit about the fucking president, okay? You should give a shit about the president. But if you were to ask me, why the fuck should I vote for Joe Biden or Donald Trump in California if California's going to go blue anyway? Or why should I vote for Joe Biden in Alabama when Alabama's going to go red anyway? Well, I don't have a good answer to that. But what I do have a good answer for is down ballot voting, okay? You absolutely, without a doubt, 100% should vote super fucking hard for down ballot, local elected representatives, and also ballot measures, all right? The other part is like, you know, yeah, if it's a close enough margin and Trump can like say it's fraudulent or whatever, it needs to be a fucking balls to the wall, complete fucking wipeout for Donald Trump to shut the fuck up. So I am a believer in spite politics, as I say. Republicans are motivated by this a lot. I think Democrats can be motivated by this too. I despise Democrats. Despise Republicans. I hate Democrats as well for conceding to Republicans, but I despise Republicans. Like, that was a little Freudian slip there. I hate Republicans. I think they are scum, okay? Republican politicians are scum of the earth. Democratic politicians are pretty fucking bad as well for conceding to the scum of the earth. They both have the same masters. They both appeal to the same fucking corporate benefactors. For sure. But Republicans are still fucking worse. Okay? So vote to own the motherfucking conservatives. Vote to own them and make them cry and make them fucking feel the pain and make them go out in the streets and fucking cry about how Donald Trump lost. That's a good enough reason. That's a good enough motivator. You hate your life right now? Republicans are in power. Okay? They've been in power. When Barack Obama for 8 years was in power, Republicans did everything they could to fucking obstruct the process, the legislative process. They did everything they could. They threw fucking American workers under the bus, and they will keep doing it. Fuck them. Vote so that they fucking cry. Vote to trigger the conservatives. Vote to fucking own the conservatives. In my mind, that's a way better reason to fucking vote than like, oh yeah, Joe Biden's going to actually materially make my life better. Probably not.
Little thing they said, some gesture they made, how they answered a question. No, that shouldn't be what people determine their vote on. But people do that. They do that.
There are two questions that bother me about debates as a journalist who's covered them and also participated in. One is, people say, is the candidate a good debater? And I've never understood what that means. What does that mean? That you score more points, or that you look better, or you sound better, or that you know more? I don't know what that means. And the second question, which I wish we would...
You seem very biased. Dude, imagine coming in here, hearing me literally say, I despise the Democrats, but I really, really hate the Republicans, and going, well, this seems like a biased guy. Like, what am I biased towards? Like, what more do you want to hear from me? I hate them. I hate politicians. I hate them a lot. Okay? I'm thinking about pursuing a career of political commentator streamer. Not ironically, is this worth it? Probably not, but hey, do you? You said make Republicans cry? Yeah. It's fun to watch liberals fucking tear up too. Don't get me wrong. But Republicans haven't cried in a while, and they need a good motherfucking cry. Okay? So if you're not going to vote for any reason, do it just to make them cry.
We would all stop asking is, who won the debate? I don't know how to answer that question. Who won the debate is not an answerable question. What impressions were left by this debate is a good question. But who won the debate, I just wish we would stop asking it. Not that we will, but I wish we would stop asking that question.
Here's how Joe Biden did in the VP debate against Sarah Palin.
Morning that the fundamentals of the economy were strong. 11 o'clock that same day, 2 Mondays ago, John McCain said that we have an economic crisis.
John McCain, in referring to the fundamental of our economy being strong, he was talking to and he was talking about the American workforce.
I was recently at my local gas station, asked a guy...
Guys, where's his stutter? Why isn't he stuttering so much? You know how, because he stutters a lot, right? Joe Biden has always been predisposed to gaffes. He's very gaffe prone, okay? But he's a great retail politician otherwise. But he has never been as bad as he has been in the past 2 fucking years, okay? He has always been able to, at the very least, string together cohesive, coherent fucking sentences, okay? Put out a message that he's just a everyday average Joe. And here you see it. He was demonstrably better in 2016 even.
A guy named Joey Danko. I said, Joey, how much it cost to fill your tank? You know what his answer was? He said, I don't know, Joe. I never have enough money to do it. The middle class needs relief.
We can speak in agreement here that darn right we need tax relief. Barack had 94 opportunities to side on the people's side and reduce taxes, and 94 times he voted to increase taxes.
Charge is absolutely not true. Barack Obama did not vote to raise taxes. The vote she's referring to, John McCain voted the exact same way. But if you notice, Gwen, the governor did not answer the question about deregulation.
I may not answer the questions the way that either the moderator or you want to hear, but I'm going to talk straight to the American people.
John McCain has voted 20 times against funding alternative energy sources and thinks, I guess the only answer is drill, drill, drill.
Senator McCain does support this. The chant is drill, baby, drill.
We will end this war. For John McCain, there is no end in sight.
You said that you wanted to run, you'd be honored to run with him on the ticket. And that's an indication, I think, of some of the support that you had, at least until you became the VP pick here.
John McCain has been dead wrong. I love him. As my mother would say, God love him, but he's been dead wrong on the fundamental issues relating to the conduct of the war.
for a ticket that wants to talk about change and looking into the future. There's just too much finger pointing backwards to ever make us believe that that's where you're going.
I haven't heard how his policy in Afghanistan is going to be different than George Bush's. I haven't heard how his policy in Pakistan is going to be different than George Bush's.
Being a mom, being one who is very concerned about a son in the war, about a special needs child, about kids heading off to college.
I just want to point out something really funny here, but you have Joe Biden talking about how John McCain is against climate change policies at a time when John McCain literally was pro cap and trade, okay? Which is literally what the Obama administration ended up doing. He's also criticizing drill baby drill and like trying to fucking trying to focus their efforts on the fossil fuel industry when Obama was the frack king, motherfucker. So just remember, the reason why I'm fucking broken fundamentally, dead inside, when I talk about these issues, the reason why I tell you nothing will fundamentally change or things will still probably be pretty fucking bad, but at least it won't be Donald Trump and making it like accelerating us towards fascism. The reason why I say this is because when they're running, they fucking sell you on these ideas, but when they're actually in power, they don't really follow through on it. Can you imagine? Like, literally, this is a perfect representation of like what liberal politicians claim they fucking care about, and then you know what happened in the aftermath of them securing any sort of power. Obama increased oil production, increased fracking in such a significant capacity. Like, and openly talked about how he's the fucking frack king. Obama lied, people died. You know what I mean. You are wrong about everything you say because I don't know. I don't doubt you'll read this. Sarah Palin is literally a proto-Karen. Oh, I love Sarah Palin so much.
How are we going to pay those tuition bills?
The notion that somehow, because I'm a man, I don't know what it's like to raise 2 kids alone. I don't know what it's like to have a child you're not sure is going to make it. I understand, as well as, with all due respect, the government.
Mourner in chief, baby. He'll mourn for you so fucking hard, dude. He's on that stage, he's thinking, yo, Sarah, if one of your kids die right now, I'll fucking call the shit out of them on the phone. You don't understand, Sarah. Sarah, I fucking mourn. I mourn. I'm fucking mourning. Oh, I'm so hard.
Governor or anybody else, what it's like for those people sitting around that kitchen table. And guess what? They're looking for help.
And John McCain has been the consummate maverick in the Senate over all these years. He's taken shots left and right from the other party and from within his own party because he's had to take on his own party.
He's not been a maverick on the war. He's not been a maverick on virtually anything that generally affects the things that people really talk about around their kitchen table. So maverick he is not.
I would like more opportunity for this. I like being able to.
To be fair, Obama did do a lot more than any Republican ever would do for the environment. How come you don't mention that? I mean, I expect Obama to do more for the environment than any Republican. Are you fucking stupid? And also, I just mentioned that Obama's comprehensive environmental change policy was literally what John McCain was advocating for. Cap and trade, which then John McCain turned around and started criticizing because Obama had adopted the policy. So it's at the heart of my criticism that it's like back and forth political football, that neither party actually has these neither party actually has a profound moral interest in fixing any of these fucking problems. And the only way that the system continues in the way that it does is because you keep fucking turning around and defending the Democrats and the liberals, and then saying, well, listen, ultimately the Republicans will be worse. A big raid? No, I don't have a big raid. It's just because it's debate day. That's why there's a lot of people in here.
To answer these tough questions without the filter even of the mainstream media kind of telling viewers what they've just heard. I'd rather be able to just speak to the American people like we just did.
love Sarah Palin so fucking much.
We have a question right here.
Yes, how has the national debt personally affected each of your lives? And if it hasn't, how can you honestly find a cure for the economic problems of the common people if you have no experience in what's ailing them?
Well, I think the national debt affects everybody. Obviously, it has a lot to do with interest rates. It has.
She's saying you personally. On a personal basis, how has it affected you?
Damn, dumbass question. What? That's an incredible question. What are you talking about?
America deserved 9/11.
Happy 7 months.
The whole point is that, like, these budget hawks, okay? These deficit hawks. Deficit hawking is a lie, okay? Republicans don't give a fuck about it. As a matter of fact, if there is one party that legitimately gives a fuck about it because they're absolute ideologically blinded to seeing anything outside of, like, their capitalist welfare state where they're trying to balance both welfare policies and also the continuation of a capitalist state, it's the fucking liberals. Okay? Nobody, and I mean no one, fucks themselves over like motherfucking liberals. There is no fucking national debt budget hawking, okay? Like, the debt increases under Republicans more significantly than it does under Democrats. Democrats then have to turn around and, like, try to fix the problems that the Republicans created, like sending us into unnecessary fucking warfare that is going on till to this day. That's expensive as shit. How are you going to pay for that? While simultaneously trying to starve the beast, as Reagan would say.
Man, Hasan.
This is the cycle. And then liberals turn around and they're like, well, I guess we got to do austerity now. I guess we got to do austerity because we got to fix the economy that the Republicans broke. Nice. You're a fucking idiot. Nancy Pelosi with Pago is a perfect representation of how fucking ideologically blinded and how idiotic Democrats are too, by the way. Just remember that. Like, we are supposed to be deficit spending. We, as Democrats, we are supposed to be the ones who are like, no, we need to fucking fund these social programs, these social safety nets, because that is how you repair the broken, that's how you repair the broken roads. That's how you repair our public education system. That's how you make the American labor force more competitive in the international marketplace. Okay? That's how you make America better. Somebody's got to fucking pay for it. The wealthy and the corporations have to pay for it, and they're not. But liberals are terrified of fucking saying that. So the question of, like, how has the national debt personally impacted your life is a great one, if you ask me. It is a great question.
Has it affected you personally?
Well, I'm sure it has. I love my grandchildren. I want to think that think that they're going to be able to afford an education. I think that that's an important part of being a parent. Maybe I won't get it wrong. Are you suggesting that if somebody has means, that the national debt doesn't affect them?
Well, what I'm saying,
I'm not sure I get it. Help me with the question, and I'll try to answer it.
I've had friends that have been laid off from jobs.
Yeah.
I know people who cannot afford to pay the mortgage on their homes, their car payment. I have personal problems with the national debt. But how has it affected you? And if you have no experience in it, how can you help us if you don't know what we're feeling?
I think she means more the recession, the economic problems today the country faces, rather than the deficit.
You ought to be in the White House for a day and hear what I hear and see what I see and read the mail.
Terrible.
I read and touch the people that I touch from time to time. I was in the Lomax AME Church. It's a black church just outside of Washington, D.C. And I read in the bulletin.
The reason why this is a fucking gigantic self-own is because it exposes the fundamental flaw in budget hawking, okay, in deficit sharking, in deficit hawking, which is that, like, nobody gives a fuck, you idiot. No one cares. It is the only way that you can try to neatly wrap a bow around your psychotic death cult ideology that justifies further tax cuts for the corporations of the wealthy that are your benefactors, okay, your wealthy benefactors. So that's why you say, oh, like, we gotta have minimal government. We gotta have minimal government. We gotta have minimal government. because the debt is bad, so that you can solidify tax cuts and deregulation. That's it. Like that's the only way. That's the only reason why these people act like they give a fuck about the budget. Okay, it doesn't matter. And to the average American, no one gives a shit. The average American doesn't care about this. The average American doesn't, like, Republicans think they care about it, but they don't.
Hassle.
They don't care about it, and it's demonstrated with the massive tax cuts that Trump put forward for the wealthy and for corporations.
About teenage pregnancies, about the difficulty that families are having to make ends meet. I talk to parents. I mean, you got to care. Everybody cares if people aren't doing well. But I don't think it's fair to say you haven't had cancer, therefore you don't know what it's like. I don't think it's fair to say, whatever it is, that if you haven't been hit by it personally, but everybody's affected by the debt. Because of the tremendous interest that goes into paying on that debt, everything's more expensive. Everything comes out of your pocket and my pocket. So it's that. But I think in terms of the recession, of course you feel it when you're president of the United States. And that's why I'm trying to do something about it by stimulating the export, investing more, better education systems. Thank you. I'm glad to clarify.
Tell me how it's affected you again. You know people who've lost their jobs and lost their homes?
True.
Well, I've been governor of a small state for 12 years. I'll tell you how it's affected me. Every year, Congress and the president sign laws that make us do more things and gives us less money to do it with. I see people in my state, middle-class people, their taxes have gone up in Washington and their services have gone down.
Slick Willie be like, hey, you want to come back on the private jet? You want to come back on the PJ? Me and my friend Jeffrey are going to have a party after. I like you. I know what it's like to have massive debt. I'll show you a massive debt later.
While the wealthy have gotten tax cuts, I have seen what's happened in this last 4 years. When in my state, when people lose their jobs, there's a good chance I'll know them by their names. When a factory closes, I know the people who ran it. When the businesses go bankrupt, I know them. And I've been out here for 13 months, meeting in meetings just like this ever since October, with people like you all over America. People that have lost their jobs, lost their livelihood, lost their health insurance. What I want you to understand is the national debt is not the only cause of that. It is because America has not invested in its people. It is because we have not grown. It is because we've had 12 years of trickle-down economics. We've gone from first to 12th in the world in wages.
He's good.
We've had 4 years where we produced
he sucks. And his administration is, perhaps I would say, after Ronald Reagan, his administration is most responsible for example, the expansion of finance capitalism and the vulturous nature of finance capitalism, and how many awful problems that has caused in this country right now. His administration perhaps is most responsible for that, beyond Ronald Reagan, I would say. But he's a great politician. He was very good. I think my fellow friend here, George H.W., doesn't know what he's talking about. I know what the national debt looks like. Yeah, third way politics cemented the neoliberal stranglehold on so many countries. Like, this guy is the fucking father of third way neoliberalism within the Democratic Party. He is like, this is it. This is when the Democratic Party solidified its position as the annoying Nancy Pelosi party, the Chuck Schumer party, the fucking neoliberal party that you hate. I mean, they already had liberal leanings, obviously. They were always liberal, but it got much worse in the aftermath of Bill Clinton and his victory.
Private sector jobs. Most people are working harder for less money than they were making 10 years ago. It is because we are in the grip of a failed economic theory. And this decision you're about to make better be about what kind of economic theory you want. Not just people saying, I want to go fix it, but what are we going to do? What I think we have to do is invest in American jobs, American education, control American health care costs, and bring the American people together again.
Look.
He set it up so that George W. Bush could fucking just run with it, dude. Just take the American economy and just go, here, this is what we're going to do with it. Shove it into the ground. Why do all these talking points sound exactly the same as they do today? Well, because the problems are still the same, because there's no solutions to those problems. Okay? That's why.
Now she's blaming, she got caught in a total lie. Her papers went out to all her friends at the banks, Goldman Sachs and everybody else. And she's
I'm so fucking libbed up from the Comey rule that like I know way too much about the personal dealings of like all the FBI people that were working on Hillary Clinton's emails and shit from last night from watching that fucking dumbass Showtime thing. That like I'm ready to fucking counter anybody that dare say anything wrong about Hillary Clinton right now about the email investigation.
Said things, WikiLeaks, that just came out, and she lied. Now she's blaming the lie on the.
One of the most annoying parts about this is like the WikiLeaks. They fucking broke into RNC as well. Like they broke into the RNC as well. They only revealed the DNC stuff because they didn't want Hillary Clinton to be president. Now, I'm not a fucking asshole. Don't be a dirtbag. Have better cybersecurity, and also don't be a fucking dirtbag where like your conversations could potentially show a lot of fucked up stuff that you did specifically in the fucking primaries. Okay, like I'm not gonna sit around and be like, I can't believe WikiLeaks happened. Oh, it's so mean. They're being so mean. Like fuck off. If you're not an asshole, you shouldn't be fucking worried about what will come up in your emails when they leak it.
Late great Abraham Lincoln. That's one that I haven't. Okay, Honest Abe. Honest Abe never lied. That's the good thing. That's the big difference between Abraham Lincoln and you. That's a big difference. We're talking about some difference. But
Hey, Arjan,
as far as other elements of what she was saying, I don't know, Putin. I think it would be great if we got along with Russia because we could fight ISIS together as an example, but I don't know.
He said it. Oh, he's in the pocket of Vladimir. He's in the pocket of Vlad. Oh, it must be nice. Is it 9 a.m. in Moscow time right now? Is that why?
Putin. But I notice anytime anything wrong happens, they like to say the Russians. She doesn't know if it's the Russians doing the hacking. Maybe there is no hacking, but they always blame Russia. And the reason they blame Russia is because they think they're trying to tarnish me with Russia. I know nothing about Russia. I know about Russia, but I know nothing about the inner workings of Russia. I don't deal there. I have no businesses there. I have no loans from Russia. I have a very, very great balance sheet. So great that when I did the old post office on Pennsylvania Avenue, the United States government, because of my balance sheet, which they actually...
By the way, Megacap thinking about like what we know now about his balance sheet. Oh, it's so funny.
Very well. Chose me to do the old post office between the White House and Congress. Chose me to do the old post office. One of the primary things, in fact, perhaps the primary thing, was balance sheet. But I have no loans with Russia. You could go to the United States government and they would probably tell you that because they know my sheet very well. In order to get that development, I had to have. Now, the taxes are a very simple thing. As soon as I have, first of all, I pay hundreds of millions of dollars in taxes. Many of her friends took bigger deductions. Warren Buffett took a massive deduction. Soros, who's a friend of hers, took a massive deduction. Many of the people that are giving her all this money that she can do many more commercials than me, took massive deductions. I pay hundreds of millions of dollars in taxes, but as soon as my routine audit's finished, I'll release my returns. I'll be very proud to.
This tape is...
Yeah, that really... Wow. Yeah, I'm so glad we have finally, we got a truthful and honest president in the White House, brother. I love him.
Generating intense interest. In just 48 hours, it's become the single most talked about story of the entire 20...
This was perhaps the greatest fucking counter of all time.
2016 election on Facebook, with millions and millions of people discussing it on the social network. As we said a moment ago, we do want to bring in questions from voters around the country via social media, and our first stays on this topic. Jeff from Ohio asks on Facebook, Trump says the campaign has changed him. When did that happen? So, Mr. Trump, let me add to that. When you walked off that bus at age 59, were you a different man, or did that behavior continue until just recently? And you have 2 minutes for
As
this.
I told you, that was locker room talk. I'm not proud of it. I am a person who has great respect for people, for my family, for the people of this country.
His name is
And certainly I'm not
Hasan.
proud of it. But that was something that happened. If you look at Bill Clinton, far worse, minor words, and his was action. His was what he's done to women. There's never been anybody in the history of politics in this nation that's been so abusive to women. So you can say any way you want to say.
Okay, well, I mean, founding fathers literally had slaves and raped them. So
His
that's,
name is Hasan.
that's a little bit wild of a take there. So they definitely. Anyway.
But Bill Clinton was abusive to women. Hillary Clinton attacked those same women and attacked them viciously. 4 of them here tonight. One of the women.
He fucking brought them, dude. He brought them to the fucking debate so he could point at them and go, they're right there. Juanita Broderick.
Who is a wonderful woman, at 12 years old, was raped at 12. Her client, she represented, got him off, and she's seen laughing on 2 separate occasions, laughing at the girl who was raped. Kathy Shelton, that young woman, is here with us tonight. So don't tell me about words. I apologize for those words.
The only time he's ever apologized, by the way, which was really funny when he went back on it. I was thinking about all the scandals that we have gone through throughout the administration, like, because all the lib stuff was reminded me, all the lib stuff that I saw on the Showtime show last night reminded me of like all the fucking psychotic things that they did, like the conversation revolving around the Magnitsky Act with Donald Trump Jr. and like Russian envoys, Mike Flynn very openly getting caught on tape, speaking to Kislyak, like the Russian ambassador, about about how they were gonna vote in the UN hearings about Israel and like what he should and shouldn't do, like all this crazy fucking shit that they did, all this wild stuff that they did very openly. Papadopoulos is the funniest, of course, obviously, openly stating that he had dirt. The Russians had dirt on Hillary Clinton and they hacked the DNC to get that dirt, and that the Trump administration was going to use it. The Trump campaign was going to use it. Like, all this stuff was wild, and we literally just fucking memory hold it and forgot about it. And that's just leading up to the election. There's so much more that happened after the fucking election as well. Not in regards to Russia, don't get me wrong, because I do think that like the Russiagate stuff was completely fucking unhinged and people lost their goddamn minds over it on the liberal side. But they really did do a lot of insane stuff. This was one of them. And this was a really good fucking really powerful counter. Also, this is the last time Donald Trump ever apologized for anything. And then another thing that we memory hold, which I'm sure, I wonder if you guys remember this one. Donald Trump, maybe like a year later, I don't know the exact timeline, I forget, literally said that tape was fake. You guys remember? Donald Trump turned around and said that Billy Bush tape was fake. Does anyone remember that? That's another thing that we like memory hold.
There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house.
He said that he never even said grab him by the pussy. Here. November 27, 2017.
I've never said I'm a perfect person, nor pretended to be someone that I'm not. I've said and done things I regret.
Oh, wait, this is the apology video.
And the words released today on this more than a decade-old video are one of them. Anyone who knows me...
This is the only time he's ever apologized, but where is it? So recently, buried in a New York Times piece seeking to explain why President Trump is defending embattled Senate candidate Roy Moore in Alabama, literal fucking pedophile, by the way, is an eye-opening paragraph. He sees the calls for Mr. Moore to step aside as a version of the response to the now famous Access Hollywood tape in which he boasted about grabbing women's genitalia and the floor of groping accusations against him that followed soon after. He suggested to a senator earlier this year that it was not authentic and repeated the claim to an advisor more recently. Who cares what he said 10 years ago? Stop living in the past. No. I don't even give a fuck about the tape and shit. Obviously, American people don't give a fuck about it either. What I care about is, like, he literally snuck that in. Even though he apologized for it, he, like, later down the line snuck in that he never even had said that, which is wild. And we all kind of forgot about that, too. I've made a severe and continuous lapse in my judgment. I hate that he is using, oh God, liberals, dude. Here's some liberal brain cancer. I hate that he's using her husband's affairs to shame her. Like, she didn't want him to cheat, asshole. He's trotting out her trauma for votes. What the fuck are you talking about? First of all, these aren't just instances of cheating. This is sexual assault accusations. Secondly, Hillary Clinton 1000% not only stood by Bill Clinton, but literally fucking attacked victims. So, like, to say that she is absolved of any sort of criticism in that circumstance, you have to be crazy.
Make that pullout game weak.
Debate daily eats go.
Yeah, when Bill fucked that 12-year-old girl. No, Bill didn't fuck a 12-year-old girl. Or that's not what he's talking about. He's talking about how Hillary Clinton defended a client that raped a 12-year-old.
His name
that's a separate tie-in to the Bill Clinton shit. I mean, James Carville, that fucking swamp rat that you see on TV. Why are you saying ban Geo? What was in his user card? I don't get it. How do you know the founding fathers raped slaves? Are you saying that because you probably would have done if you were in their position? Wait, what? What the fuck? Are we now at the stage of, like, ahistorical, like, history denial where we're just saying that, like, the founding fathers didn't have fucking slaves or didn't have sex with them? Like, Thomas Jefferson literally raped his fucking 14-year-old slave, bitch. What do you mean? How does one president get away with so much shit? Yeah, anyway, I'm not gonna respond to too many of the new frogs here, but
his name is Hasan.
How did the founding fathers rape their slaves? There's no statue of the rape, brother. I don't know. Yeah, get wrecked, lipped hard. There's no statue of the rape, and so it didn't happen.
But it is things that people say. But what President Clinton did, he was impeached. He lost his license to practice law. He had to pay an $850,000 fine to one of the women, Paula Jones, who's also here tonight. And I will tell you that when Hillary brings up a point like that, and she talks about words that I said 11 years ago, I think it's disgraceful, and I think she should be ashamed of herself, if you want to know the truth.
Can we please hold the
leasing it when you're...
We already saw the not paying the taxes makes me smart. VP debate highlights. This was in 2012, so we're going down more Biden. We're going down the history of... we're going down the riding with Biden highlights. Oh my God, this is 240p.
We should always stand up for peace, for democracy.
Remember this fucking scum fucker, dude? Remember this scumbag?
Democracy for individual rights. And we should not be imposing these devastating defense cuts, because what that does, when we equivocate on our values, when we show that we're cutting our own defense, it makes us more weak. It projects weakness, and when we look weak, our adversaries are much more willing to test us. They're more brazen in their attacks, and our allies are less willing to trust us.
With all due respect, that's a bunch of malarkey.
And why is that so?
Because not a single thing he said is accurate. First of all...
Be specific.
I will be very specific. Number one, this lecture on embassy security. The congressman here cut embassy security in his budget by $300 million below what we asked for, number one. So much for the embassy security piece. Number two, Governor Romney, before he knew the facts, before he even knew that our ambassador was killed, he was out making a political statement which was panned by the media around the world. We will not allow the Iranians to get a nuclear weapon. What Bibi held up there was when they get to the point where they can enrich uranium enough to put into a weapon. They don't have a weapon to put it into. Let's all calm down a little bit here. Iran is more isolated to...
Remember when the single most important foreign policy accomplishment of the Obama administration was literally undermined by the Democratic Party under the Trump administration because they were going to add additional sanctions on Russia for stealing our elections, for ruining our elections, the integrity of our elections, but sanctions also were placed on Iran, which was still following the fucking they're following their end of that bargain on the denuclearization agreement, despite the fact that Donald Trump had ripped that apart. I remember. This is why I fucking hate politicians. Just remember all of that, okay?
Ravioli in a thermos. I pour hot water over it, steeping it like tea, and I drink the tea all day at work. I work at the White House, and at the end of the day, as I drink the last of the tea, the soft ravioli slides into.
Oh, you're such a big man, Hasan.
Is that copy pasta? That's awesome. What you're doing is Italiaphobia. How dare you? Go back to the place after we skipped the Obama-Romney binders.
Today, when we took office, it was on the ascendancy when we took office. It is totally isolated.
This is the world's largest sponsor.
Bernie voted against those sanctions too? Yeah, Bernie was like one of the few people that voted against the sanctions. Everyone else voted for the sanctions.
Of terrorism. They've dedicated themselves to wiping an entire country off the map. They call us the Great Satan. And if they get nuclear weapons, other people in the neighborhood will pursue their...
You know, it's fucking brilliant that, like, Republicans are so good at austerity, at implementing austerity. This is literally what Paul Ryan lives for, starving the beast, destroying the social safety nets of the government, right? So, lives for fucking austerity and implementing austerity measures when it comes to social safety nets and things that, like, actually help the American working class. But when it comes to fucking additional agitation on foreign adversaries and, like, justifying endless war, they got an endless purse, my guy. Look at how easly they justify it. They're like, what do you want, fucking Iran to come here and, like, fuck your daughters and kill you with nuclear weapons? Like, no, of course we're not going to cut the defense spending because Iran is our greatest threat. We need to fucking destroy Iran. Like, they can say that, but liberals will never have that same energy for fucking
His name is Hasan.
social safety nets that they're supposedly on board with preserving. Of course, this is in 2012, which was, immediately after the re-election, Joe Biden and Barack Obama literally tried to secretly cut Social Security with a new adjustment. So that was another thing that Bernie Sanders was also very openly against. So just remember that. As well, when you think about how Democratic politicians and Republican politicians lie about certain things with a chain CPI. Mods be cleaning the chat hard today? No, it's just people are spamming a lot.
Their nuclear weapons as well.
Vice President
We
Biden.
can't live with that.
Let's look at where we were when we came to office. The economy was in free fall. We had the Great Recession hit. 9 million people lost their job. $1.6 trillion in wealth lost in equity in your homes and retirement accounts for the middle class. We knew we had to act for the middle class. We immediately went out and rescued General Motors. We went ahead and made sure that we cut taxes for the middle class. And in addition to that, when that occurred, what did Romney do?
Yes, we're going to see the debate on stream, brothers.
Let Detroit go bankrupt. We moved in and helped people refinance their homes. Governor Romney said no, let foreclosures hit the bottom.
Did they come in and inherit a tough situation? Absolutely. But we're going in the wrong direction. Look at where we are.
His name is
The economy
Hasan.
is barely limping along. It's growing at 1.3%. That's slower than it grew last year, and last year was slower than the year before. Job growth in September was slower than it was in August, and August was slower than it was in July. We're heading in the wrong direction. 23 million Americans are struggling for work today. 15% of Americans are living in poverty today. This is not what a real recovery looks like. Mitt Romney's a good man. He cares about...
I love this. It's like, oh, Obama's recovery efforts didn't go far enough. It's like, dog, Mitch McConnell literally said, I don't give a fuck about the recovery. We're just going to focus on obstructing everything and making sure that Obama is a one-term president. how the fuck do you turn around and say, oh, Obama's recovery efforts weren't good enough? And they weren't, by the way. They really weren't good enough. That's a certainty. I agree with that take, but not from the point of view that Paul Ryan is advancing here. When he played a fundamental role, his party played a fundamental role in limiting the recovery efforts.
100% of Americans in this country. And with respect to that quote, I think the vice president very well knows that sometimes the words don't come out of your mouth the right way.
But I always say what I mean. And
We
so does
want
Romney.
everybody to succeed. We want to get people out of poverty, in the middle class, onto a life of self-sufficiency. We believe in opportunity and upward mobility. That's what we're going to push for in a Romney administration.
The idea, if you heard that little soliloquy on 47%, you think he just made a mistake, then I think you're. I think I got a bridge to sell you.
Here's the problem.
So he is stuttering there back in 2012 because he got worried. And it's a normal thing. If you have a stutter, if you have a stutter, when you feel pressured, it'll come out. Like your stutter, even if you've combated it your entire life, it will still come out. And you see that there all the way back in 2012. But the difference is, notice how he doesn't have that issue with cognitive decline, or notice how it's not a ongoing, consistent thing. It's like an instance where he feels really pressured. Brad Parscale stole $40 million from the campaign. Yeah, I saw that. I haven't looked into it yet.
I'm sorry.
Dr. Hassan,
I
MD.
apologize for that.
I mean, I know enough about fucking stutters now because everybody constantly shits on me for saying that Joe Biden isn't, Joe Biden's like cognitive decline isn't just like due to us seeing his stutter, but also.
Don't we need all?
This is a deranged
Hassan, the stutter truther. He doesn't feel pressured now. Dude, this kind of pressure that he feels now is the exact same kind of pressure that he felt throughout the entire fucking debate with Paul Ryan, but you notice how he didn't stutter in any other part of that debate.
There's some whores in this house. They got caught with their hands in the cookie jar, turning Medicare into a piggy bank for Obamacare. Their own actuary from the administration came to Congress and said, 1 out of 6 hospitals and nursing homes are going to go out of business as a result of this.
That's not what they said.
7.4 million seniors are projected to lose the current Medicare Advantage coverage they have. That's a $3,200 benefit cut.
That didn't happen.
I love that. 1, none of that happened. 2, it's hilarious that like the guy who wants to cut Medicare that will literally rip coverage away, okay, and then restructure the marketplace, so that you will be able to, so that insurance companies will be able to sell junk insurance, okay, is saying 7 million seniors were going to lose Medicare coverage. It's fucking nuts. It is fucking insane. Like, 1, none of that happened. And 2, you wanted something worse.
Isn't that just darling?
Saying
more people signed up.
These are from your own actuaries.
More people signed up for Medicare Advantage after the change.
Guys, who gives a fuck about the view count, dude? Okay, and no one hosted me. The view count is going up today because it's debate time and everyone is interested in this. This is the one time, like, this is the fucking first presidential debate. Everyone's gonna tune in today and try to figure out what's going on. This is when a lot of people that are otherwise apolitical, are like coming in to figure out what the fuck's going on. The numbers are going to go up even much higher throughout the debate. So get ready for that. I will be literally streaming the debate. So
debate day Pogu.
Don't be a view count Andy. Your viewers just want to be mean to you now that you have to have your day in the sun. I love what I do. I'm a very fortunate person. So every day that I live and every day that I stream on this platform, I'm having my day in the sun. Okay, DMC for a minute? No.
What they're
We're watching it on
nobody
stream.
is
Mr. Vice President,
It's C-SPAN, guys. It's on C-SPAN on purpose. It's on C-SPAN. It's on Google. Every outlet is going to be broadcasting it. And the reason why they're going to be broadcasting it is because everyone is stuck at home. This is the only way to get this information across to as many people as possible, which is why it's going to be all right. I'm going to be rebroadcasting it. It's not fucking locked in by CNN.
No, this Mr. Vice President, I know you're under a lot of duress to make up the lost ground. But I think people will be better served if we don't keep interrupting each other.
Oh, I missed the Mitt Romney Obabe. Where is it? I don't see it. Oh, is this it? Obabe versus
A
Romney.
high-stakes showdown as President Barack Obama and challenger Mitt Romney took the stage in Denver to go head-to-head for the first time. An estimated 60 million Americans tuned in to watch this critical moment in an often contentious presidential campaign. With the election just 34 days away, crucial swing voters still undecided. With Romney trailing in the polls, time running short, tonight could be his turning point. Here's how it went down. They came out, shook hands, ready for the main event. But President Obama began soft, very soft. A shout out to the First Lady.
I just want to wish, sweetie, you happy anniversary and let you know that a year from now we will not be celebrating it in front of 40 million people.
Romney graciously followed suit with an easy quip.
And congratulations to you, Mr. President, on your anniversary. I'm sure this was the most romantic place you could imagine, here with me. So.
And then they got down to business. The subject, jobs.
Our hero, Mitt Romney, liberal savior Mitt Romney, an honorable man. Folks, ladies, gentlemen, remember Mitt Romney, the guy who was going to save the republic.
His name is Hasan.
Oh, wait, never mind. He's, of course, obviously voting for Amy Coney Barrett. So what happened there? Never trust Republicans.
Romney took it to the president from the get-go.
Middle-income families are being crushed.
It was clear and direct and aggressive. Romney seemed on his game and ready for a fight, hammering away at the grim economic track record of the last 4 years.
When the president took office, 32 million people on food stamps, 47 million on food stamps today. Economic growth this year, slower than last year, and last year slower than the year before. Going forward with the status quo is not going to cut it for the American people who are struggling today.
President Obama seemed at first to wander a bit, but found his footing with an answer that slammed Romney as the heir of failed trickle-down economics.
Math, common sense, and our history shows us that's not a recipe for job growth. Look, we've tried this. The approach that Governor Romney is talking about is the same sales pitch that was made in 2001 and 2003. And it all culminated in the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression.
The body language was fascinating tonight. Romney spoke directly to the president in his answers. Obama spoke mostly to the moderator, Jim Lehrer of PBS.
You said you cut the deficit in half. It's now 4 years later. We still have trillion-dollar deficits. The CBO says we'll have a trillion-dollar deficit each of the next 4 years.
These two men, they are virtually strangers to each other personally.
Mitt Romney was kind of hot. That weird?
They've only met in person 3 times before tonight, most recently in passing on a debate stage in New Hampshire way back in 2008 when Republicans followed Democrats in debate 3 days before the primary. And there was this brief...
I mean, he literally looks like Gavin Newsom. Like, you know, there's a archetypical way that some people look like. They just look like they would play politicians on TV. Like he has that classic
3 months, Pog.
older white guy who's like attractive enough to be an actor, a politician, like TV politician look.
Encounter
nice
on
hair.
The campaign trail in 2007.
Hasan has been taken home with
And while they have both reached the pinnacle of party politics, they are so different. Their talents and their paths to power and their debate styles. So much at stake on that stage tonight. This showdown comes at what might be the critical moment in this campaign, a hinge of political history. Polls show the race tightening, just 34 days left in this campaign. And you can already sense in the crowds this special energy of the home stretch. But tonight, surprisingly, and in contrast to the daily scrap on the trail, no zingers, no roundhouse punches.
You know what I noticed? Like, I don't know if this is crazy, if this is a new thing or not, but like, why is it that like my chat at 33,000 is like running with the same speed that my chat runs at 15K. Okay, now that I said that, you guys are gonna fucking spam and shit, but like, it is kind of weird that I'm able to like deal with 33K chat just as well as I deal with 15K chat. Yeah, now you fucked it up.
Hardly any humor. Instead, long answers, sometimes dense
You
arguments.
broke my chat,
The
Reno.
president struggled to score points on what polls show is Romney's biggest vulnerability. Most voters believe he favors the
I should
rich.
have never said anything.
And Obama tried to portray the Romney-Ryan plan for Medicare in that light.
When you move to a voucher system, you are putting seniors at the mercy of those insurance companies. And over time, if traditional Medicare has decayed or fallen apart, then they're stuck.
For his part, Romney zeroed in.
It's also wild because I'm not seeing any gray name tags, which kind of sucks. This is just more people focusing on the stream and not you, chat. Yeah.
And on what may be Obama's big vulnerability, the unpopularity of his health care plan, and the sense that he took his eye off the economic ball when he pushed for it.
I just don't know how the president could have come into office facing 23 million people out of work, rising unemployment, an economic crisis at the kitchen table, and spent his energy and passion for 2 years fighting for Obamacare instead of fighting for jobs for the American people.
President Obama and Governor Romney have been battling it out on the stump, barnstorming the swing states and flooding the airwaves with increasingly negative ads.
What a freak. What a fucking freak, by the way. Can you imagine having the balls to be like, how dare you fight for health care? Like, at a time when the country needed economic recovery. Like, what was the country supposed to heal themselves with if in their horrible economic conditions they accidentally, had to go to the hospital? Like, what were they supposed to do? What a fucking freak. It's wild that you can make a statement like that and get away with it.
For welfare. You wouldn't have to work and wouldn't have to train for a job.
In the crosshair.
I think that is like, there is a cat's out of the bag or opening of the Pandora's box style thing when you advocate for universal or more comprehensive social safety nets. And what that is like, I don't know if like Republicans can get away with being like lowering the qualification for entitlements is a bad thing. Like, I don't know if they can run with that message nowadays like they openly would back in the days of pre-Obamacare. You know what I mean? Like, if you were to say that, if you were to turn around and be like, oh, you want to give the poor's more, social safety nets, like, people would be like, why is that bad? Like, everyone is fucking poor right now. Didn't Romney roll out something similar to the ACA? Yes. When he was the governor of Massachusetts, Mitt Romney literally was the first person to implement the Heritage Foundation ACA package.
His name is Hasan.
Yeah, Romney Care.
Is on the stump and in the open.
It goes back to exactly what I was saying, which is that like these guys pass the fucking political football back and forth and only stand in opposition to the policies when Democrats are the ones who are advocating for it. It was Utah, though? No, it wasn't. It was in Massachusetts.
Obama ads?
Oh, Mitt Romney, am I crazy? It was Massachusetts. Yeah.
Oh, you're such a big
fucking chat.
man,
Don't test me like that, bitch.
7% of the people who will vote for the president no matter what.
That infamous tape of Romney seeming to write off millions of Americans.
Who believe that they're entitled to health care, to food, to housing.
That was so good. That was so good. Fuck me. Meanwhile, nowadays, Donald Trump could be like, 40% of Americans are pieces of shit. They're dog shit that run in filth. They're hogs, but they're my hogs. And everyone will be like, yeah, I'm a fucking hog, Mr. President. Let me, fuck my wife. I love you. Like, it's great.
But astonishingly, in the debate tonight, those comments never came up. Obama declared.
Pussy, by the way. Barack Obama, pussy moment for Barack Obama. He used to be way more vicious in 2008 when he was running against Hillary Clinton. And he turned to a gigantic little baby after 8 years, or after 4 years at that time, 4 years in office.
declined an opportunity or simply whiffed when given the chance when he was asked a broad question on the role of government. He ended up talking about, well, something.
In the middle of the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln said, let's help to finance the Transcontinental Railroad.
Romney's response was clear, practiced, and forcefully delivered.
We have a responsibility to protect the lives and liberties of our people, and that means a military second to none. I do not believe...
At the end, they shook hands, and then a moment of togetherness, the Obamas and the Romneys on stage. But even as they were enjoying a little bipartisanship, both sides began spinning and readying for the next round.
Leasing it when you're under audit.
Yeah. This is some good shit. Okay. Here is the presidential debate highlights from the first presidential debate between Hillary, Rodham Clinton, and Donaldo. We're gonna take a look at that, and then after that, I'm gonna get into troubled Florida divided America. Divided America. Will Trump hold this swing state anywhere but Washington? From The Guardian. I love looking at European outlets try to comprehend our fucked electoral process. Alice Johnson, the widow of Captain David Dorn, and Colby Covington are expected to be among Trump's guests. Oh, okay. No Tara Reid. Interesting. So yeah, he's going to be like he's going to run the Antifa line and say that you are the Antifa president, Mr. Biden. And here is David Dorn. Here is David Dorn's widow. And she is a widow now because of your supporters who killed David Dorn. That's what he's going to say. EU equals UK Papega. I think the UK and also the EU frogs need to recognize that, like, we're American and we don't give a fuck. There is no distinction between the EU and the UK, okay? It doesn't fucking matter. We just mean the European continent. So shut the fuck up. All right? Americans think Australians are from the UK or EU. Americans literally hear an Australian accent and go, that's EU accents, lol. You think they give a fuck? They don't. We don't. And we shouldn't. Go fuck yourself, man. Yeah, we think Canada is EU, dog.
I was against it once it was finally negotiated and the terms were laid out. I wrote about that in...
You called it the gold standard.
I hope...
You called it the gold standard of trade deals. You said it's the finest deal you've ever seen.
No.
And then you heard what I said about it, and all of a sudden you were against it.
Dumpstered and dumpstered, rolled.
Well, Donald, I know you live in your own reality, but that is not the fact.
And look at her website. You know what? It's no different than this. She's telling us how to...
It's literally shit slinging. And Donald Trump is a great shit slinger. This is how he fucking rolled over every single pussy in the Republican debate stage. And this is low-key how he literally bullied fucking Hillary into submission.
Fight ISIS, just go to her website. She tells you how to fight ISIS on her website. I don't think General Douglas MacArthur would like that too much.
The next segment.
I love that. He's like, he won't tell you. This is really funny too. He's like, I won't tell ISIS how I'm going to fight him.
Continuing the subject
least I have a plan to fight ISIS.
No, you're telling the enemy everything you want to do.
No, we're not.
See, you're telling the enemy everything you want to do. No wonder you...
You know, so this is where he thrives, by the way. This is where he thrives because this is classic dumb guy rhetoric, okay? Donald Trump didn't have a fucking plan to fight ISIS. He never did. But he didn't need it because he could fucking yap his way out of a corner, okay? And he did that. That's literally what he's doing. He's like, you're giving the game away to fight ISIS. The XQC strat, exactly. He's pulling it off just like XQC gets to fucking dominate the conversation and suss random people and, like, you know, yeet out crew members on Among Us. Donald Trump was able to fucking suss out Hillary Clinton and throw her out of the goddamn airlock, dude.
You've been fighting. No wonder you've been fighting ISIS your entire adult life.
Folks, go to the fact checkers. Get to work.
I will.
Oh God, that's so pathetic. She's like begging for outside interference, like calling the fucking mods, dude. I am calling the mods to clean up this mess.
His name is Hasan.
Mods, this Reddit thread has gotten out of control. That's so bad.
Release my tax returns against my lawyer's wishes. when she releases her 33,000 emails that have been deleted. As soon as she releases them, I will release my tax returns.
My hope for the best outcome out of this debate tonight is that Trump constantly interrupts Joe Biden. He's going to do that. He's going to roll over just like he has. This is his style. It's going to be very good for him. My hope is that Joe Biden gets so frustrated in like that classic old guy anger that he demonstrates every now and then, and he just turns around and he says something really fucked. Or maybe even something light, like, shut your fat fucking mouth, you stupid hog. Come on, Jack. You better shut that fat mouth up before I shut it for you. Time to do a push-up competition. Something like that. That would be so good. I mean, that would be incredible. And that's a load of malarkey that you're spewing out of that fat mouth of yours, Jack. Time to do some push-ups, you stupid bastard.
This is a deranged.
Something like that.
Perfect.
Against my lawyers, they say don't do it.
Well, I think you've just seen another example of bait and switch here. So you've got to ask yourself, why won't he release his tax returns? And I think there may be a couple of reasons. First, maybe he's not as rich as he says he is. Second, maybe he's not as charitable as he claims to be. Or maybe he doesn't want the American people, all of you watching tonight, to know that he's paid nothing in federal taxes, because the only years that anybody's ever seen.
By the way, this is yet another instance of like Hillary Clinton was right, but it literally didn't matter. She was 100% correct on this, and it literally did not matter. Just like she's still right on this, and it still doesn't matter. Just I want to remind you that Democrats are not going to do a good job of like fucking selling the 750, even though Biden's campaign did use that immediate ad that they cut out was really good, showing exactly how much average Americans have paid in federal taxes. That was really fucking good. That came out literally like an hour after the New York Times investigation. So, but I don't think that Joe Biden is going to have that same energy. But what Joe Biden needs to do tonight, and this is something I've been repeating over and over again throughout the campaign, what Joe Biden needs to do tonight is show Americans that he is the everyday common man and that he represents the everyday common man's interests, okay? And their point of view. That he is the Scranton, Pennsylvania Joe Biden going up against the Park Avenue interests of Donald Trump. A billionaire born with a silver spoon, an entitled, narcissistic man-child that has ruined this country for his personal benefit and his personal needs. It has divided this country because, like, people care about that divide shit, even though the country should be divided, and it always has been divided and should be continued. That division is not a bad thing, especially if Democrats will get on board with that division and actually push back against the Republicans instead of conceding to them and rolling over all the time. So Joe Biden has like increased that messaging a little bit, and I want him to do so even further. I want him to keep up that rhetoric that he is Scranton, Pennsylvania's very own Joe Biden. He's Amtrak Joe, okay? He is Amtrak motherfucking Joe going up against billionaire Donald Trump, who cuts corners around his taxes and fucks over the American people.
God,
and what did he do? He was right in 2016. Joe Biden should say, you were right in 2016 when you said that Hillary Clinton and others that came before us, okay, others that came before you, and I'm responsible partially for this as well, created a system, or at least played a hand in the system, that allowed you to cut your taxes, allowed you to pay only $750. No more. That I can promise you. But what I also have to mention is, you said you cheated the system. And you said you were smart to cheat the system. But then what happened? You became president, and the first thing you did after becoming president was increasing tax cuts for the wealthy and the corporations that were already cheating the system, as you openly admitted. That's something that they have to hammer in.
Wet ass P word.
Were a couple of years when he had to turn them over to state authorities when he was trying to get a casino license, and they showed he didn't pay any federal income tax. So he has a long record of engaging in racist behavior.
You have no clue how taxes work? Okay, first and foremost, I do have a clue on how taxes fucking work. Obviously, it's his losses and his depreciating assets. But beyond that, also a bunch of fraudulent ways in which he has filed for, instead of giving directly $750,000 in gifts to his daughter Ivanka, he is said that she is a consultant, okay, and and was able to evade taxes in that way. But it doesn't matter. Like, none of this matters from the eyes of the everyday American average Joe. This motherfucker's a billionaire, and he only paid $750 in federal tax. Are you crazy? Like, there is no way you can describe that. There's just no way you can describe that as like an honorable or normal thing. You just can't.
And the birther lie was a very hurtful one. You know, Barack Obama is a man of great dignity.
I mean, she started the birther lie.
And I could tell how much it bothered him and annoyed him that this was being touted and used against him.
First of all, I got to watch, in preparing for this, some of your debates against Barack Obama. You treated him with terrible disrespect. And I watched the way you talk now about how lovely everything is and how wonderful you are. It doesn't work that way. So when you try to act holier than thou, it really doesn't work. It really doesn't.
Do you have supported the war in Iraq?
Tax codes allow it for a reason. Yeah, dude. And Donald Trump in 2016 openly stated that the tax code was tilted to favor billionaires like him, and that he was smart to take advantage of that tax code. So what did he do when he was president, you fucking idiot? He didn't change that system. He didn't change that inequality. As a matter of fact, he made it worse. That's the point that I'm trying to fucking make. But you are too fucking idiotic to understand that. Politico says Hillary didn't start the birther lie. Yeah, I don't give a fuck what Politico says. I don't give a fuck what these liberal-ass, stupid-ass fucking fact checkers say. I know what the fuck happened. Hillary Clinton's campaign literally apologized back in 2008 for releasing a video, or not a video, releasing a photo of Barack Obama wearing a fucking turban. Okay, they literally apologized for it. Sparking questions on whether or not Obama was truly an American or whether or not Obama was actually Muslim.
His name is Hasan.
Mad because wrong? What do you mean? Why are you so emotional? Because idiots make me angry. Yeah, here's Politico. Obama campaign manager David Plouffe accused the Clinton manager on Monday of shameful, offensive fear-mongering by circulating a photo as an attempted smear.
Big man, Hasan.
There you go. They did that. The Hillary campaign did that. Mad because wrong, my ass. Fuck my dick.
Wet ass P-word. Make that pullout game weak.
Almost 2 years of having my eyes open to the truth. Love ya, buddy.
Hey, Hassan, will you be having resub sounds or TDS during debate? My roommate won't agree to watch your stream otherwise. I might just watch it upstairs in my room alone. What? You need me to have TTS on for your roommate? What the fuck? What? Dude, shut up. Okay, Trump has the debate with a mixed martial artist and advice for handling questions about his 750. Colby Covington is there. No, I'm going to turn it off. Yeah, I'm not going to have it on. Anyway.
Before the invasion, what makes your
I did not support the war in Iraq.
2002.
That is a mainstream media.
I don't understand. Are you a Democrat or Republican? Because you attacking both sides? I don't know, brother. I don't know, brother. Am I a Democrat or Republican? I'm just a God-fearing. I'm just a God-fearing, honest-to-God, red-blooded patriot, brother. That's what the fuck I am.
Nonsense put out by her because she, frankly, I think the best person in her campaign
His
is
name
mainstream
is
media.
My question is, since you
Would you like to
supported it,
hear?
why is your
I was against the war.
judgment-
Wait a minute. I was against the war in Iraq, just so you put it out.
The record shows otherwise,
the record
but why
does not show that.
why is your
The
judgment
record shows that I'm right.
Earlier this month, you said she doesn't have, quote, a presidential look. She's standing here right now. What did you mean by that?
She doesn't have the.
Dude, this shit is like, it's so good. He was just like, dude, he's just gonna use, of course he's gonna use fucking misogyny and sexism shit as a weapon. Of course he was gonna use that.
Look, she doesn't have the stamina.
This is a
I said she doesn't have the stamina.
Do you ever look
and
at any Instagrams?
I don't believe she
If
does
so,
have
are
the
there any
stamina.
funny ones
Like,
that
what
you
is
can
this?
Tell us?
His fucking nervous laughter. Yo, Hillary should have been a fucking cutthroat prosecutor, okay? Hillary should have ripped him apart. But instead, he was just buckling like a picnic table over and over again.
To be
I
president
mean, it wouldn't have helped anyway, because she campaigned like dog shit. So
of this country, you need tremendous stamina.
Well, as soon as he travels to 112 countries and negotiates a peace deal, a ceasefire, a release of dissidents, an opening of new opportunities in nations around the world, or even spends 11 hours testifying in front of a congressional committee, he can talk to me about stamina.
The world, let me tell you, Hillary has experience, but it's bad experience. We have made so many bad deals during the...
Using her strength against her. Using her strength and turning it into a weakness. Very good. Oh, yeah. You've been in politics for a very long time. I'm new around town, but guess what? Everything you've done is horrible for America. You are responsible for America's horrible foreign policy is a really good way to just fucking jujitsu that experience. He's going to do this against Joe Biden tonight as well, just so watch this space, as liberals would say. Watch this space. He will 100% be like, you've been vice president, you've been in fucking Senate, you've been in Congress for 47 years. For 47 years, you've been a part of the fundamentally broken American political infrastructure.
America deserved.
And you didn't do anything? How? How should the people believe you? Why should the people believe you now when you haven't been able to do anything for 47 years? And a lot of people, a lot of neoliberals will maul at me for saying this. And they'll say, he's a senator. Like, what do you think? A senator is supposed to be an authoritarian like Donald Trump? Blah, 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 blah. Like, and that's a trap. That's a trap that a lot of Vox.com article writers are going to get into. Like, that is a huge trap. Don't fucking bite that, okay? That's bait. Don't dive there. Don't talk about that. Turn it around and be like, I have been a public servant for 47 years, and you destroyed this country in the last 4 years in a way that no other president has ever done before. That's how you fucking counter that, okay? Don't talk about like the responsibility of senators. Don't talk about fucking how little you got done or like why you got done very little, because like it's actually like politics is about like
His
marginal
name is
incremental
Hasan.
change or any number of like different things that neoliberals will different traps that neoliberals will engage in and different bait that neoliberals will take. Everything has to be about fucking deflection and retaliation. Everything has to turn around and attack Donald Trump. Hit Donald Trump. 200,000 dead. 200,000 dead. You're a piece of shit. 200,000 people died because of your incompetence. You lied and people died. Donald Trump lied, people died. Just like Hillary Clinton lied, people died. Stuck. That could stick too. 4 years has passed by, and it's not an accident that your administration is doing their very best to say this is Joe Biden's America. You keep showing pictures of Donald Trump's America and saying it's Joe Biden's America. Put him on the defense. Trump needs to constantly be deflecting and shifting blame away on this debate stage tonight.
Hasan.
Just so, ultimately, at the end of that debate, you can turn around and say, a good leader does not absolve himself of the responsibility. Leadership comes with a heavy burden. And Donald Trump demonstrates that he's a bad leader with the outcomes, with his mishandling of coronavirus, with everything else that he's done throughout this entire 4-year tenure. But worst of all, aside from all the lies, he also refuses to take responsibility. And that is a powerful line, because why should Americans vote for you if you won't even take ownership of things that you've done wrong? I don't think Joe Biden will do that, but if he does, it'll be good. It'll be successful. So I hope he does at least make an effort, take the initiative, try to do it. It would be great if he did that. Anyway,
oh, you're such a big man, Hasan.
So she's got experience, that I agree, but it's bad experience.
You know, he tried to switch from looks to stamina, but this is a man who has called women pigs, slobs, and dogs.
My thanks to Hillary Clinton and to Donald Trump.
I will fix your birth certificate if you want to run. My birth certificate says America. I'm an anchor baby, so you don't have to fix shit. Anyway, like the sexism stuff was lame as fuck too. Watch this last Obabe video. No, I don't care about it. I don't want to watch any more Obabe.